Hello, Queens. I'd like to thank all of you beautiful women for coming to the 6th annual Queen's Tea. Me and my mom are so happy to be the founders of the Queen's Tea. We celebrate the Queen's Tea in honor of women and young girls. Thank you for coming, and I hope you enjoy yourselves. Bye!
Hello, Queens. As my daughter has said, welcome to the 6th annual Queen's Tea. It is an honor to be here with you all today, wherever you are around the world. I am Michelle True Francois, the co-founder with my daughter Nala of this event, which started 6 years ago at my home in Al Ain, Abu Dhabi, with 6 moms and our daughters. It was my daughter's vision to have a tea party. And I enjoyed this empowering feeling of women and young girls coming together, lifting each other up, that I decided that this needed to be an annual event. So here we are. Now, this event was supposed to take place live on June 6th in Abu Dhabi at a 5-star hotel. I put down a deposit and everything before I came to the US in March to be with my dad, who was diagnosed with cancer. And I had no idea that COVID-19 was going to stop me from being with my husband and my kids for over 3 months now. And I had a decision to make. Do I cancel the tea? Do I postpone it to some for unseen date? Or do I try this virtual world that we all have been living in right now? And I prayed on it. And on May 19th, God gave me the answer that I was looking for. And so I messaged the panelists that we have with us today. I messaged Iman, I messaged Micki, and I asked them if they wanted to be a part of this virtual event. And they all said yes, excitedly and instantly, like not even without a thought. They just said yes. So I knew it was divine that it had to happen. As we were planning this event in this virtual world, it's very tricky than having an actual live event, and it is completely new to me, but I was up for the challenge, and we were up for the challenge. So as my mother would say, it's great. It's not perfect, but it's great. I ask you queens who are watching today to apply that to this event. As the first time that we bring it to you in a virtual world, it is going to be great. I promise you that. It may not be perfect. We may not be seamless. So I ask you to bear with us and love us and interact with us on this Facebook Live. And I hope that you hear and you see something today that motivates you and encourages you and uplifts you and empowers you. I know we can't be together to hug on one another as we usually do, but this event is getting to be spread across the world to women in every corner of the earth. So keep those positive vibes coming. Send all the love that we need to help elevate each other. Now I'm going to stop speaking for now and give the floor to our mistress of ceremony, Miss Iman Khalid. She is my friend, my sister, a queen in her own right. She is a wife, a mother, an international educator, an event planner, and a storyteller. Iman has lived in Abu Dhabi for 11 years now, and she enjoys watching the UAE grow. She is from Detroit, but she lived in Al Ain and now to Abu Dhabi. Iman's passion is teaching people how to love themselves, all while having a good time around the globe. And when I asked Iman what was her inspirational message, she said, "What is meant for you, even if it's buried beneath 2 mountains, will surely reach you. Have faith in God. He is the biggest, the greatest, and the most capable." So without further ado, I will give you our MC for the day or night, wherever you are in the world. My friend, my sister, my soundboard for ideas, Queen Iman Khalid.
Oh, thank you so much, Michelle. That's quite an introduction. I'm blessed to be here and I'm grateful to have you. And happy day after Juneteenth Day to you all. I pray that everyone took the time and enjoyed their family, learned some lessons, ate some delicious food, schooled other people if you had the opportunity, and just enjoyed this year, this day that marked our independence. And it's funny to talk about independence while we're in the midst of a pandemic, but slowly but surely the world is beginning to open up for us, right? So Michelle, I applaud you a million times, because even when Michelle initially came to me, what do you think about the Queen's Tea online? I said, that's a little weird. Internet's a little shaky. But she knew it was on her heart. It was her vision. So oftentimes you have to step out on those things that God put into your heart, because then he'll begin to unlock it in other people's hearts as well. So kudos to you, Michelle. Thank you for sharing your gift and your wisdom and your intuition from God with us. So today I just want to introduce this awesome event, the 6th annual Queen's Tea, by starting with a bit of an icebreaker. So what you can do is, once I pose the question, you can go into the chat and you can answer there. And then I'll read the answers throughout the session. Okay. So earlier this year, I was talking to my daughter, she's 16, and she was complaining that her teacher just didn't have it together. So I'm a teacher, so I know how that goes, right? So you may have scolded a student, or you may have given them a mark they didn't believe they earned. So I asked her, well, what don't you like about him? She said, I don't like what he's delivering to us. I said, okay, if you were a teacher, what would you deliver? So she sat and she thought. I said, well, one thing I want to pose to you. In life, when someone gives you something you don't necessarily agree with, why don't you go and create your own? So today, the question I pose to my queens is, what is the last thing that you complained about that you then took that and went to go create something new with it? So for instance, my daughter was complaining about her Islamic studies teacher, and she felt the teacher wasn't teaching her what she needed to know as a Muslim woman, right? So I said, you are a Muslim woman. Why don't you go create a curriculum? And so together, she and I have created a program for sisters who are new Muslims, struggling Muslims, every average day, everyday kind of Muslims, to introduce us to the idea that if you want something, you need to create it. There's also an awesome company that recently has just exploded as Juneteenth has come. They're called Browndages. And please go and, spend your money with them, because they looked at the Band-Aid and they were tired of seeing the Band-Aid only come in one color. So they created bandages of all colors for all of us to use on our beautiful brown and caramel skin. So if you have an issue and you have a complaint, don't just sit and complain, go and create. So sisters and queens, please go into the chats and tell us the different things that you have created out of a complaint. And I'll share it with the rest of the panels and the rest of the queens as soon as I get those answers. Michelle, did you want to discuss something?
I just think that this whole virtual realm for me, and having the Queen's Tea in this virtual realm, has definitely been something to create, because I never would have thought of doing this if we were live in Abu Dhabi, if we were having our event at Dusitani. I never would have thought to have this virtual platform. So I know for a lot of things, when Sunny and I and Christine, we had our poetry event, Amplified. That was something that was birthed out of the virtual world and having poetry online. And I know Bala has just initiated their website. Even though they have been going on for 9 years, they knew that now was a great time to launch that. So Black Americans Living Abroad, if you're not familiar with them, they're one of our sponsors. So that has been something that has come out of all of this. And it's good to see all the creativity that we have when we're stuck in what seems like an awkward situation.
Exactly, Michelle. Thank you so much. So I guess the lesson of today is, don't just complain, create. And speaking of creation, I'd like to introduce you to one of our entertainers for tonight. She is awesome. She is powerful. She is melodic. She is Micki Barocca. Michelle Jackson, AKA Micki Barocca, is a singer, songwriter, poet, and educator from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Shout out to Philly. Performing for over a decade, Micki's resume includes opening for renowned reggae artist Cham, aka Baby Cham, Philly funk legends Breakwater, and Brazilian artist-composer João McDowell. She has also performed alongside the hip-hop legend Dana Dane. Her debut album, Sonically Speaking, was released in 2011 and is a musical recipe of funk, jazz, reggae, and rhythms. So all the good stuff, right? Her other published work, entitled Open Your Eyes and Stand Still, is a collection of moving meditations, personal thoughts, and revolutionary poetry. Michelle is also an educator who has been enriching the lives of children for nearly 20 years. Wow. She has taught in the public school systems of the United States, UAE, and is now currently in Cambodia. She describes herself and her family as adventurers, which is the reason for their move to a different country. As for the future, she is currently working on new music, new poetry, and building her business as a gaming designer. Congratulations, and thank you, Micki. We look forward to hearing what you have to share with us.
Thank you, Queen. And you all look beautiful. And I thank you, Michelle, my Queen sister, Michelle, True, Francois, for inviting me to come on here and to perform for you guys. I haven't performed in quite a while, but you know, like I always say, if you have a gift, you need to use it. The Creator gave it to you for a reason. This first piece is dedicated to all the queens who are in the house tonight, or wherever you are around the world. You have to know that you are awesome, you are creators, you are beautiful, you are blessed, and this is for you. And to the panelists who are being honored today, congratulations. It just means that you have a lot of people who are behind you, who support you, and who think that you are very, very important. And we respect and honor the great work that you are doing in your communities. Thank you so much, and congratulations to all of the queens today. This piece is entitled She, and it's dedicated to all of you. She's got the spirit of Harriet. She's got the fight of Asada. She's got the looks of a queen and can cook like your grandmama. And she stands 200 feet tall, looking over clouds even when she's overcast. Sadness is her pumice stone. She uses it to smooth away the sharp edges and creates her own path. Peace is her happy color because she paints the world with it, so vivid that it would leave you in awe. God whispers in her ear and her spirit is unbreakable. She doesn't recognize defeat because she is wired to be unshakable. Many walk past and wonder about her smile. No, she doesn't need makeup to be beautiful. Raw beauty is her style. Her energy is electric and her skin feeds you warmth from the sun, radiating love, light, and laughter, proof that her children are not descendants of chaos or the gun. She is goddess, painstakingly immaculate. Madness's eyes cutting, committing crimes as she walks. But she's busy calling on spirits to heal us as she talks, walking like a giant, stepping over destruction, stepping over confusion, stepping over fixed illusion, stepping over landmines of destitution, walking into life with her head held high. Spiritual magician, empress of another dimension, like those days when grandmama made her elixirs, not just to heal, but to cleanse us from demonic fixes. She can multiply herself when she has to do it all alone, but she ain't afraid to fix her miscalculations when she's done it all wrong. See, wherever she is, God is. And in whatever she does, God lives. In her natural essence, she is love. In her worst moments, she is still love. Even with crimes waged against her and her beloved, she stands ready for war, ready to fix the score with any enemy that threatens her dwelling. Feet planted firm, standing strong, arms stretched, and her love is warm. Strutting in shoes on feet that have been bound, strutting in shoes that have lost their ground, shoes that have held a house divided together, carried secrets, worked until dawn, awakened the mentally enslaved, led marches, fought battles, bore children, healed wounds and broken spirits, strong enough to be what she speaks, and bold enough to stand on the promises she keeps. Even changed doubt into belief. Arms long enough to stretch across borders and connect with continents, leaving no land untouched. Her blood flows universally. And if that isn't enough, everything times she is she. Just because the enemy doesn't like it doesn't mean that she isn't free. And just because you don't have it doesn't mean you can't receive. She is the building block of all life. Brown, red, yellow, green, black, and white. See, ain't nothing in the world more incredible, more stunning, more fascinating, more original, more powerful, more regal than she, woman, Black woman, and she walks in her own shoes daily. Thank you.
Oh, yes, Micki, thank you so much for that beautiful piece. Wow. Now it is time for us to get to this panel that we have with us today, three phenomenal women. Usually at the Queen's Tea, we have a one keynote speaker because of the restrictions that they have in the UAE. We can't have a whole lot of people on stage. That costs a lot of money. But so I decided, again, in this virtual world, let's take advantage of hearing as many voices as we can. So this panel is coming together. These women are not familiar with each other, but I know all of them. They are my friends, and they are women who have something to say and some good advice due to the experience that they have lived through. So I want to, the first queen that we have is Miss Kendra Johnson. She is a sister that I met only about a year ago. And she was telling her story at the Women's Fit Show, which is another platform of women who get together for fitness. And her story really touched my heart. And so she told me about her book and all that she had created. And so we've just been in contact ever since. And the second queen on the panel is Carnisa Berry. And we go back to when I first moved to the UAE, she was already there. And our families just hung out really tough. We were the best of friends, and just joy came together, being together. And we spent holidays together, went on trips together, and we created families together and events together. So this sister is a wealth of information. And the last person on our panel is my soror, again, Real Sorority Incorporated, Coach Cass, who we go back to undergrad in Florida. And so, like I've said, all of these women have something, some wealth of knowledge to give to us. Queen Iman is also going to join us on the panel because it's great to have different perspectives from people all over who have experienced different things. So they will each have about a couple of minutes to introduce themselves and how their coaching and what they do and their products that they have, because we need to support each other. And then we will get into the discussion. First up, we will have Kendra, then Carnisa, then Cass.
Okay. All right, can everybody see me? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Okay. Hello, my queens. This is your friend Kendra Johnson coming to you live from Abu Dhabi. That's a big deal these days because I too was actually in the United States for about 96 days unexpectedly after I buried my mother in March. So I just returned home and I'm very thankful for that. I'm very thankful for that. I'm coming today to talk to you a little bit about health. That was my area of expertise, I suppose. But health comes in three different forms as far as I'm concerned. There's physical health that we all kind of know about. How do we keep our physical bodies in shape? And then there's mental health, which has been the biggest thing, the biggest obstacle for me personally to overcome is to how do I get my mind right and how do I get my mind set on the right things? And then thirdly, I want to talk about emotional and spiritual health. Those things to me go together. That's how we control our emotions and how we have a relationship with our creator. So that's going to be my my topic today, and I look forward to sharing with you later.
Carnisa?
So hello, everyone. Michelle, thank you so much for, first of all, creating this event, and then secondly, for inviting me to be a part of it. So as Michelle said, I am Carnisa Berry. I am a relationship life coach, and I'm excited because I really help people get clear about the relationship they're having with themselves. I'm always tickled when people reach out to me to talk to me about relationships. They want to talk about the people that are in their lives. Here's the thing, you can only change you. And so I want to help you to get clear about the messages that are playing around in your head, I call the voice in your head the narrator. And so we often have two narrators, one that speaks from love and one that speaks from fear. And so Iman started this by asking, what have you seen that you're not happy about? And you have the answer to make a change or make a difference. And maybe some of you have done that, but perhaps there's someone watching that hasn't jumped into their greatness, not because you're not capable, but because fear stops you. I want to help you get very clear about the messages of that fear so that you can go head on and know that love is the power. I connect that love to God, but it's so big. It's not just like love, oh, I feel love. It is power. It is a sound mind. And when you learn to stand in that part of your greatness, then you can do everything that Iman talked about and encourage you to do when you see that there's a change that needs to happen. So I'm glad you're here today.
Coach Cass.
Hey family, what's up, what's up, what's up? For some of you, I have a 3-year-old right next to me, by the way, so I'm sorry in advance. Spotlight my video, please. All right, so one of the big things that I want to share with you guys is I'm a recent author, and many of you want to become an author. Many of you want to do something more, and I remember just wanting to write a book maybe 10 years ago. And I wrote a sticky on my door and I said, I'm going to be a best-selling author. It's going to happen for me. And I never, ever thought it would be a children's book. I'm a relationship coach. I focus on women who haven't had luck when it comes to love, but everything else, right? And literally this book came about really and truly because I wanted to do something different. My daughter's birthday was coming up and I wanted to find a princess birthday party. Any of y'all ever had a problem trying to find some representation for your child? So for me, what had happened is I went into the store, couldn't find anything. And I just started to pay attention. And when I went to the doctor, they'd hand her a sticker and say, baby girl, I'm so proud of you. Here's my favorite princess. But that princess never looked like her. Right. And then when I went into the stores to buy her just pajama sets, I could never find a pajama set with somebody that looked like her. I'm like, yo, this is kind of crazy. So I decided to create this character named Princess Zara. So what Iman was talking about, if you don't see it, create it. Right. So creating that representation. So I told myself I was just going to put it up on her wall, much like these queens that we have here. I was just going to put it up on her wall and call it a day. And when I went to lunch and I showed it to her, I said, baby, this is Princess Zara. What do you think? She goes, Mommy, I don't want this one. I want the other one. I want the white one. And my girlfriend started crying. My girlfriend's actually white. And so we're there sitting like looking at our husbands. We're just like, whoa, this is not okay. So that's when I realized that this was a little bit deeper than I thought. Y'all remember that black doll versus the white doll test that happened in the US back in the day? And everybody thought that white was better, prettier, smarter. I don't think it was because their parents sat them down and said, this is what it has to be. I think it was the lack of representation. So literally, I am on a mission, y'all, to create a mainstream cartoon that all the little girls will run to the computer, run to the TV and say, Mommy, Princess Zara is on, whether they're black, white, Asian, Hispanic, because it's not just for our little black girls to see a black princess, but for all girls, for all kids to uphold our children. And so many people say, oh, well, what about Princess Tiana? Princess Tiana was a frog for over 70% of the movie, right, y'all? Come on, come on. And then on top of that, she came from poverty. If we're going to make up a story, she needs to be royalty. So I think this goes right in line with our queens today. You are all queens and Princess Zara is a queen. So the big thing that's happening with me this weekend right now is we have a fundraiser happening to sponsor 500 girls to get Princess Zara birthday sets for those little girls who can't afford to have a beautiful birthday party. And yes, even during quarantine, they still deserve a setup, you know? So literally, I'm going to drop the link in the chat in the group, but that is my ask to everybody today is to sponsor a girl no matter where you are in the world, because it's a big deal to be able to see yourself, right? So yeah, that's what's up. That's what's going on with me, just over here trying to change the world, y'all. That's my protest from inside the house. Hey.
Miss Iman, you want to say something before we start with the panel discussion? No love? All right. So
I actually would, Michelle.
Okay, go ahead.
I love it. I love that the energy, the synergy has just taken over and everyone's kind of on the same page. Don't complain, create. I was at a lecture, I was at an event, and the guest speaker said something so powerful. He said, people are like bones, okay? And so we're all thinking, well, how would people be like bones? He said, there are three kinds of people. He said, there are people who only talk. They come up with the ideas, they just talk, talk, talk. Woo, we need to change things. We sure need to change things. We call those the jawbones. He said, then there are the people who are even weaker to a smaller extent because they sit around and they wish everything would happen. I sure wish somebody would create a book for princesses. I sure wish someone would talk to me about relationship advice. I sure wish there was a Queen's tea. We call those wishbones. He said, but the least of the people, but the most powerful of the people are the people who actually go out and they create the things they want to see. They become the change they want to see in the world. And we call those people the backbones. So I'm honored to be amongst this beautiful panel of people who are a panel full of backbones. And inshallah, we have beautiful queens coming in from all around the world who are part of the solution, and they're not sitting somewhere complaining. And we complain from time to time when we're stuck in quarantine. Who's not going to complain during that time? But that we actually create more than we complain. So thank you, Michelle.
Ooh, thank you, Iman. That needed to be said. You know, for the vision that I have for this whole panel thing that, like I said, never done before. I don't know if you guys watch the show The Real, but that's one of my favorite shows that I like to watch, because those 5 Black women get up there. Oh, they're not Black women, women of color get up there and they, you know, they speak truth. And that's all that I want to do today, is speak some truth. So my first question is real personal. It's about me. I'm gonna get myself out of the way, because I can't help other people if I don't help myself first, right? And I know, Kanisha, you talk about love, and Cash, you talk about love, and Kendra, you talk about love and health. And I love myself, and I think self-love is what's going to heal the world. I think that we need to love ourselves fully without all of, you know, despite our flaws and our blemishes. And like you said, Kanisha, it's a higher power and everything. And I'm always like trying to get better, trying to improve myself, trying to, you know, reflect on who I am and how I can get better simply. But I have a problem, y'all. I have a problem, and I'm not afraid to say that it's a consistency thing that hurts me. You know, I can do a 30-day challenge, a 60-day challenge, a 90-day challenge, but when that challenge is over, I revert back to some of my old ways. So like, as coaches, how do you help your clients, or how do you help people to be consistent in whatever that goal may be, for love, for health, for whatever? How do you help people with that? Anybody?
Okay. Is my hand up first?
Oh, go ahead.
Is my hand up? Okay. I'm a visual person. I'm extremely visual, and I am just, I think that's probably normal, Michelle. Don't feel like, you know, you're the only person that struggles with that. But I'm a visual human being, so I have to have pictures. I have to have mantras up. I have to have things that remind me of where my goals are. So when I lose sight of when life gets hard, it sometimes gets in the way. Then I have something that I actually look at every day before I go to bed, and every morning when I wake up. My vision board is right on the other side of this computer. My other vision board is right there on my mirror every single day. This is what you have to remember for the fight that's coming up for you. So for me, I have to have something that visually reminds me of what I said I was going to do a year ago. Let's say a year ago, I said I was going to, and you remember last year when we talked, I said, I want to do X, Y, and Z. I wrote it all on my vision board. I fell off, just like, you know, it's normal. But then something else reminded me, all right, you need to get back on your grind and get back into, you know, writing again. And then I started writing for the magazine. Then I started traveling more. And now I start to write more, because that was my goal from last year. So for me, visuals, keep something that reminds you of exactly what it is that you said you would do, you know, 90 days ago, 6 months ago, whatever that goal may be. Have something that physically reminds you of that in your face all the time. And that's me.
Anybody else want to add to that question?
I mean, I'll just add to it to say that I totally agree. It's always about the vision. And many times when we fall off the consistency or get inconsistent, it's because we've lost focus on the vision. I'm very much the same. I tell people all the time, the vision board is not about being magical, but it is the reminder. It becomes your visual to-do list. So you look at your board and you say, well, do I have that goal? Do I have that thing I said I wanted? And if you don't have it, then you know what you need to be doing to get it. And at the very least, create a plan to move towards it. The second thing I always do is I always check the story that I'm telling myself, Michelle. Typically for me, like I know the story that I tell myself about exercising is that I hate it. Like I'm very aware that I tell myself that story. But what I do know that is true is every time I do finish 30 minutes, and that's all I'm giving you, so don't tell me how 45 and 65 minutes is the magic point. For Kanisha, 30 minutes is magical. So, but I know the moment I finish that 30 minutes, I feel amazing. I feel exonerated, like my energy, my thoughts flow better. So I have to get to the story of, move from the story of, I hate it to, well, think about how great you're going to feel when you finish. Think about like how you spent the last 3-4 days feeling sorry for yourself and just thinking about how bad you look, knowing that all it's going to take is one day for something happens in your mind to all of a sudden now you think you're a superwoman and that your body is magically already what you want it to be just because it's 30 minutes working out. And so that makes me want to keep working out. And so in everything that I'm doing, particularly in my marriage with the children, when I see something that I don't want, when I'm aware that I am not producing what I want to produce, and I get very clear that I am telling myself a pity story, oh, woe is me, this is never going to happen for me, why can't I do this? I wake up to the story I'm telling myself, and then I take action. So vision, story, action. That's the magic, and that's what I have to continuously do.
Michelle, so one of the things I would share is I heard an interview with a guy from The Biggest Loser, the trainer from The Biggest Loser, who helped a guy literally lose over 400 pounds, right? And he continued to do this with many different people on that Biggest Loser show. Now, that original guy who lost his 400 pounds, he ended up gaining it all back. Wow. And he could trace it back to the one thing. He broke the promise to himself, right? So the promise to himself was, I will not drink Coca-Cola, right? I will not drink regular Coca-Cola. And since he lost the 400 pounds, just that one time, I'm going to drink a Coke because I've come so far. And he traced his relapse back to just getting that Coca-Cola. So literally what I say is exactly that. What is the one promise that you can continue daily that you will not break? And from there you will build, but it's a discipline. And if you just make that a part of your lifestyle versus a fad, a diet, a challenge, it's like, look, I will not eat bread. Right? Let's say bread is like that thing, that's the weakness. Like you eat all the bread at the restaurant. I'm talking to myself, right? So it's like that bread basket, like, no, thank you, ma'am. Do not even put it on the table, right? So it's like, if that's the thing, like if that is the thing that you need to get rid of, or if it's a Coke, or if it's soda, that one thing that you could say, all right, this is where I'm going to stake my ground. There is where you build, because once you get that discipline, other things will come. But when you start, like, if you're a person that just wants to sit like this all day and it's like, oh man, to go for a walk, it's just too much, there's no motivation. But if you start to give yourself those small wins, then you build the muscle, right? It's a muscle to be able to say, okay, I could do the next thing. Like this morning, I did my Zumba class. Listen, I don't like walking, right? I'm a bike rider. So when my family's like, let's go for a walk, I'd rather just lay down, right? But if they're like, oh, let's go for a bike ride, I could do that because it reminds me of the times when I used to be in Queens and be able to ride my bike everywhere. It brings me back to my childhood. So it's also trying to find what gets you excited to do. And it's even the instructor. So there's 1,000 Zumba instructors online right now. I don't flow with all of them, right? Like some of them are trying to do music videos. I don't want to be in a music video, right? So I'm in the old people class, right? 50 and up. Like, all right, here's our small movements with some shake. I could do that, right? And my husband makes fun of me. He's like, they're doing better than you. I'm like, don't hate, I'm moving, right? So you also have to find what makes you flow, what makes you excited, what makes you happy, right? So one is, what's the one thing you could take out, period. 2 is exercise that muscle. And 3 is find something that's fun for you, no judgment, whatever that may be. It could be dancing in your living room. It could be sit-ups in your bed, whatever it may be, just move. Boom.
I love that, Coach. That is some of the best advice. And I think the only thing I would add on to the end, something that really works for me, is just having accountability partners, having people that you go to. And you don't have to have 50 people, because we all have, hopefully, 50 or so people that we consider to be friends or associates, but just people that you can call on and say, hey, I'm thinking about this. I can pinpoint one particular queen who was recognized 2 years ago. I can contact Queen Majida and I could say, Majida, I'm going to the moon. She said, okay, what time do you want to leave? She never ever discounts anything. She never said, well, you know, gas prices are a little high and you know, the ventilators are all sold out. She always has this push. And so I want to give a quick shout out to my queens of the Angel Circle. That's our cup here, drinking a little tea. And I want to shout out Kanisha as well, because she's not only just a life coach, she's my life coach as well. And she actually helped me realize I got some things to work on. I'm not so perfect, so I appreciate you, Queen. And so yeah, just find people that you can share your goal with, and they won't denounce it, because first they don't denounce themselves, right? And they won't just sit and listen to you complain, but they say, hey, let's go, 8 o'clock, let's do it. And they contact you 2 days later. Did you start that thing you said you were going to start? So I appreciate that, but definitely look at who you surround yourself with.
I think that's good advice, Iman. You know, I do have some accountability partners that I try to, you know, keep up with, but I know I'm a bad communicator sometimes. I'm not the best person to reach out and send a message or something. And usually like, oh, someone will be on my mind and I'm like, oh, I need to talk to that person. Even Kanisha, like I was like, I need to call her, and I ain't called her yet. But that leads me to my second question about fostering relationships. In this COVID-19 time, we haven't been able to get out and maybe have lunch or tea with our sisters like we have been in the past. So how have you guys been continuing, or how do you encourage other people to continue to have foster relationships? Is it just in this Zoom realm, or is there something more that we can do?
Well, for me, because we came back here from China, a lot of mine has been in the Zoom realm. I have a girlfriend that was there, and we was really close. I mean, China was really hard for me, and so we got super close. It's different, like the UAE, you guys know what that love was like. And so I went there looking for that and I couldn't find it, but I found this one sister from London, and we found that in each other. And for a while, it just felt like that's all we had. And so here we were. Now she's still in Beijing and I'm here. And so we made one, I love that friendship with her, because we allow ourselves to say the hard stuff to each other. Like we created a space in our friendship to say, listen, I don't care how you may think this is going to make me feel. If I need to hear it, I need you to say it. And so also the ability for each other to be honest about, like, I have rejection issues, right? Like I'm fully aware that little things that you could do will make me feel rejected. Doesn't mean that you are rejecting me, but my story can become, oh my God, Michelle said she was going to call me, she didn't, so now I feel rejected. So I had that conversation with my friend to say, listen, girl, you know I got rejection issues. If I reach out and you don't respond, I will make up a story that you don't love me. And so so by me saying that, she gave me permission to say, you're not allowed to make up that story. You're allowed to tell yourself that TT is a mess. Like TT would type a message and forget to hit send. So it's not right. It's not that she's not responding. So we have to be careful of the assumptions we make about people, the whole stories we create about a situation that hasn't happened. And so she was vulnerable enough to say to me, I have to leave people and separate, I do this thing where I do out of sight, out of mind to protect my heart. And she's like, I don't want to lose this friendship, but I will immediately like go into that pattern. So I need you to send me a message every so often to say, hey, knucklehead. So literally like the agreement that we are both honest enough to say that our fear is what will keep us from each other. And because of the story we tell ourselves. So therefore, call me out of my story. Call me out of my story. And because we have that conversation, I don't when my mind says, oh, I haven't heard from TT, it must be because she's got new friends and moved on, I can go delete. You're making that up. That is not true about TT. Send her a message. Hey, knucklehead. And so definitely this. And then here at home, I have a friend where because of the quarantine, I'm like, can you meet me at the park? And we just walk. So we won't get close to each other. We get, sit across each other from a picnic table. But being vulnerable enough to ask for what you need and being adult enough, the answer is no, not to take it personally. That's the magic of keeping these relationships healthy during this time. Yeah.
I see.
Anyone else want to add to that about fostering relationships? Cash, you on mute.
Sorry, can you hear me now? All right, boom. All right, so I recently interviewed a client and I posted it on my Instagram that found love during quarantine. Okay.
I saw that.
Okay. So let me talk about that side of things, right? Because some people like, man, love is on hold till we get outside, till outside is open again. Listen to me. We don't know if outside is going to open properly. And I need you not to look for somebody, through a mask, because listen, you don't know if all the teeth are missing. I understand, it's going to be real tough at the supermarket. So one of the things that I'm just recommending for people to do is to continue to date. Listen, there are millions more people online. So not only is it good for business, it's good for your love life. So all the people in here that's been anti-online dating, how else you gonna meet somebody, boo? How else you gonna meet somebody? So I need you to get online, right? I need you to get online. Okay. For some of you like, Coach Giz, I hate online. Okay. So go sit outside and 6 feet away, start waving at people. You have an option, right? So we can wave at people. Hey, try to wink through your mask and your face shield, or you can get online. Now, the third way is you can ask for introductions, right? So you could ask a friend to ask a friend, hey, you know somebody? Do you know somebody? But the whole thing is to be open, right? We got to be open. Put open in the chat so I know that you're paying attention. You got to be open to this situation, and love is possible. Remember, millions more are online. So that just it's a numbers game, baby. So you have more options to connect with someone viable. So that's my sprinkle of hope for you.
Can I ask you, I'm married and all. I ain't looking for nobody. But for the sisters that's out there that may be looking for love, on this virtual realm, he could be, thousands of miles away. How like that's compatible for you?
Well, on these apps, it says where the people are. So you could start close. You could say 5 miles, right? So we could start close.
I don't know how that works.
Oh yeah. With the apps, you could put miles and ranges, locations. Yeah, you could do locations. So you could start with the 5 miles and then ease on out down the road, right? So just see, and you have the time. And I don't want to hear about how busy you are. You're in the house, okay? And if you are forever working, I need you to sit down somewhere, which you are sitting down because you're watching Netflix and you're watching Issa Rae's Insecure and you're watching everything else. So just take a moment to swipe as you do the things. And at some point you have to use the toilet. So you can swipe at all times, all right? Yeah, I'm just saying, make time for love, baby. Make time for love.
You can be my personal love coach then, Coach Cass. You can
Come
be my
on, baby. Let's do it.
What?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Coach, I love what you said. And what you have to add to that, I would like to add, is you just have to believe that it's out there. So Michelle, you said my quote when we started is, even if it's buried beneath 2 mountains, you're going to have it. Because see, God is not small. He doesn't need a small stage. He doesn't need, us to tell him where to locate him. He doesn't have to be down the street. He could very well be across seas and he'll put you together. I was living in Abu Dhabi. My husband was living in New Jersey. And our friend introduced us, and that's how we got together. And then, alhamdulillah, he moved to the UAE. So you never know where God is going to. We believe that, I have to go back home to get my husband, like you said, right? Coach Cass, I got to go stand outside next to Chick-fil-A because Chick-fil-A always has long lines. No, whatever you're supposed to have, is going to come to you. Oh, Chick-fil-A. I'm mad at them. I'm mad at them right now because we support Black businesses.
I'm going to steal that, though.
So yeah, you just believe that he's out there and believe that God is big enough to answer your order. And there you go.
that went in a whole different direction. I was kind of like where Coach Kanisha was, like, you know, how to maintain.
Asking, but you know, share your wisdom.
I've been married for 20 plus years.
I was like, going to add to Coach Kanisha and be like, yeah, it's been very difficult for me to, you know, maintain friendships. And, you know, if just because I haven't talked to you doesn't mean I don't love you type of thing. And I was going to add to that. But now you got me on Love Connection. Now I'm thinking I probably should get online and get started. Right? I ain't got nothing else to do, right?
Well,
but that's how we stay connected, right? Either whether it's with male or female, whatever, you know, that's how we stay connected at this point in time. So I get online, do what you gotta do.
Thank you, Coach Cass. Thank you, Coach Kanisha, both of you. Thank you.
So for us who are stuck in the house, and on the flip side of, you know, reaching out to people who may not be in our house, you're sitting in your house with, you know, the people you love, and they getting on your nerves. Like that, you're just tired of them. And I don't feel that way because I'm not with my family right now. I miss them dearly. Like I've been away for more than 3 months. But you sitting in the house and you frustrated. And I know, like, for my husband, his outlet is to go play basketball. And right now he can't go play basketball because they can't be sweating and spreading coronavirus all over. Like, so how do you deal with that frustration? Maybe you can't get to the outlet that you want to do. Like, how do you deal with that? How do you deal with that?
I assume that some of you are kind of familiar with that minefield, that battlefield of the mind. I take vacations in my mind constantly, literally. I meditate on places that I've been, meditate on places, or just my happy place, because peace looks different for everybody. Your peace might not look like my peace. My peace is sitting on the water, being alone, completely alone, listening to the birds and next to the trees. And so I remember places that I've been where I felt the most peaceful. And I go back to that place in my mind. Now, sure enough, the phone will ring or somebody will come knocking on the door bothering me. But if I can find like 15 minutes every day just to visit that place, I can do my and then start that day. Because yeah, you can. Back home, I could go outside. Here, you can't. I can't go outside. But when I was back home, I could take a walk. I would take a walk and get my mind together. But now that I'm back home, I can't go outside. But I'm gonna go to that mind space. Your mental health is everything. I'm sure some of the coaches would agree with me on that. So I try to take little mini vacations in my head since you can't go anywhere.
Love that. I love that. Okay, so one thing I would say is blame it on somebody else. So one of the things I do is we blame it on Cheryl. I'm sorry if anybody here is named Cheryl, but you know, somehow, you know, you used to have a clean house, but now with quarantine, it's like it blows up in 5 seconds. Anybody ever feel like, where these dishes come from? Why is there 5 loads of laundry and we haven't left the house? Like, just wear the same clothes. What's going on? So that's one of the big things that I've started to do. It's like, man, you know, Cheryl started making a mess again. Can y'all help me clean up after Cheryl? Like, man, Cheryl left some dishes in the sink, you know? So instead of making it a daily, oh, look at what you did again, you didn't clean up after yourself, you're blaming someone else over and over again, you know, that starts to create contention in the household. So blaming it on a third person that doesn't exist, right? So here's Cheryl, our new coworker. 2 is creating boundaries, right? So right now, my husband and I have a thing that he actually likes waking up early in the morning and exercising and doing all this stuff. I like to stay in my bed, right? And so this little person right here, she likes to get up somewhere in between there. So he will tend to her in the morning and allow me that time to just gather myself, right? So he has the mornings and I have the afternoons. So that has created more sanity for me in creating this structure of how we do things together. And the third thing is to say thank you. Listen to me. We do not have to wash a dish. We do not have to do a thing. We do not have to clean the something, you know, so being able to recognize the people that you live with and just simply seek out 3 things to say thank you for each day creates more gratitude and appreciation in your home so that there's a good vibe flowing, right? Because sometimes we feel taken advantage of. You know, I cooked tonight and this person didn't even say thank you. You know, I washed the dishes, I picked up their plate, you know, and we create these stories in our mind and we're hangry and angry and built up and nobody wants to blow up because look, we can't even open the door. So it's really important to be able to say thank you. That's it.
Beautiful advice.
And Kanisha, I know like your oldest son is going off to college. I know.
Yeah.
That has had to be a transition for you guys coming from China, and then he's going to college, and it's COVID-19, and like how have you all been coping?
It's been really rough. I have rough moments. So like coaching, because when I became a coach, you have to learn all this stuff, right, in order to teach it. So what coaching has helped me do is to realize that I can't make this moment forever. Like I can't, like yesterday our morning started off beautiful. Like we was like, oh my God is a blessing. By the end of the day, I was like, where you at, Jesus? and I was tickled at how, and I said to Andre, I said, isn't it amazing that this morning we thought like, look at God. This afternoon we're like, where God? So understanding that you can't let a moment be the day and that the moments pass. And so even with Bryson, like, guys, here's the thing, COVID-19, my son is 18 years old, about going to university. We prayed that the doors open. But my child is going to Minnesota. Do we know what just happened in Minnesota?
Right.
You know? And so, and then I grew up in a small town and everything here was fear-based. I wouldn't let my child go. You see what I'm like, well, where is this wonderful safe haven for Black men in America? Please show me where that is so I can send him there, because I don't know where I could see him where I don't have to worry about a police doing something bad to my son. But what I have to do is I have to have faith. Like I have to stay grounded in what the Bible teaches me, because that's my moment of faith and thing. And here's the thing, I know people don't like to hear this, and we really struggle with this, and I don't know what it would be like to be in the middle of it, but we act like death is surprising. Like I have a death date. I can't avoid it. I can't
go ahead.
Out of it. Bryson has a death date. I hope I don't get to see it or experience it, but I can't allow my fear to keep him from living. I can't. Like, exactly. So what we teach him, I make sure with both Bryson and Brianna that they have the language to talk about what it is they're feeling. We don't need to deny these feelings, which Bryson stuffs, Brianna overly emotes. So you're talking about how do you live in this time? Like we're literally living in my mom's house. We're moving today. So in the midst of me saying yes to this, I also said, yeah, this is a great day for moving. And then I went, oh, maybe I should look at the calendar. But hey, so Andre and the kids are moving right now, and then I have to show up after this. But we have to be honest. Listen, the biggest gift we can give ourselves is the truth that we're telling ourselves, and then connect it to a truth bigger than ourselves. So the truth I'm telling myself is, oh my God, what if the worst happens to Bryson, right? Then I got to connect that to a bigger truth of, okay, oh my God, your word says, fear not, for I am with you. I prepare a path for you. That boy's whole life has been wonderful thing I love about having children is I get to see God move, creating their path. Like I see the steps that he's leading them through, where when we're in the path ourselves, we can't see our own path, right? You just maybe you look back and see it, but I literally can see that this child has a 4-year scholarship to a school in Minnesota that we had never heard of. So how can I think that God didn't order that? 4 years, this isn't a cheap school. Like this, I was like, Bryce, you got $300,000, baby. Worth, like he has put that in. So why would I allow my fear to say, you can't go there? What if what happens to you, what happened to Mr. Floor happens to you? I can just pray his protection. And I can remember that in my mind, I can create all kinds of stories. And the story I tell myself about the worst that can happen to my son, I get to rewrite that story and tell the story about, oh my God, look at the amazing thing God is doing. Look at all the connections that you're about to have. Bryson, be clear about why you're going to university. Me and Bryson sat down and we got clear about why are you going to school? Not about what degree you're going to graduate with, but why are you going to school? Clarity, connections, because that's what happens in university. Mom, I'm going to collect some information that's going to help me with the destiny God is designing for me. This is not about graduating with a degree to get a job. We're not on that path. We're on the divine destiny path. And so for him, the vision of the collecting of information for the bigger vision is where we focus on. So it's kind of where you focus on is what grows. And so we choose to focus on everything that's going to move him towards a destiny that we believe. I mean, that boy's story, the boy grew up in Beijing, he used to say, why do we have to live in China? I said, Bryson, I don't know why. Bryson God needs a little black boy like you to speak Mandarin, but you got to learn it. I said, one day you're going to be somewhere. And literally we was on a flight and no one could speak to this Chinese lady but my son.
Wow.
It didn't make sense. And in that moment he looked at me, he says, Mom, I said, remember I told you. So I'm always looking for the clues that God is offering us towards the divine destiny. And so you stay focused on the clues and the destiny, and then you don't have to worry about the fear stuff. And so you can stay in tune to the love path instead of the fear path.
Ooh, that's good.
Sage words.
I was talking to my mom on a video chat the other day, and she said, Michelle, you're smiling with your mouth, but your eyes look sad. And I said, I am sad. I legit, like, it's been over 100 days. I haven't been with my kids, my husband. I am sad, but I can't wallow in that. I can't roll around in the mud. I can't be crying. But I said, there's work to be done, and I can't change it.
Oh.
The UAE is not letting me in yet. So I can go kicking and fighting and screaming and crying and yelling, but is that going to change my situation? No. So what can I do? I can control me. I can control, that's it. And I'm trying to control me, but there are times when, I break down and I lose it. And I know some people are like, oh, Michelle, she's so strong. I'm trying, but this journey is not easy, No. And so, as we're gonna wrap up this panel so that we can continue with the rest of the tea, I just want you all to just give some words of encouragement to anybody who may be going through a rough patch right now. The trauma of the world is huge right now, and there's a lot on our shoulders, especially as women. And what are those final words that you would like to give to the women that may be listening right now? We can start with Kendra.
Well, Michelle, I just want to say, personally speaking, I've been praying for you since the very beginning. I've been praying for you. I had sent you a message like an hour before I got that email. I promise you that's the way it went down. I said, I had just had this dream, Michelle. We was all at the airport. We was all hugging and we was all crying because we made it back. And, an hour later, they sent my approval. But I said, but I'm still like, my sister needs to come home. My sister, that kind of thing. So if I'm going to wrap this thing up, if I were to say anything to encourage you or anyone else around the world about who's going through this COVID situation, is please write down your lessons. Whatever God is trying to teach us, whatever reason he has us slowing down and focusing on ourselves and our staying in his house, write down all the lessons so you can say, oh, today I learned this about myself, because I was under the impression that I didn't like America, that I was done with America, that I don't want to have anything to do with it. And then, you going to sit there for 90 days. You're going to sit there for 90 whole days until you figure out what your relationship with America is. It wasn't America. It's some of the situations that I came from that were giving me bad memories of my homeland. So now that I've reconciled that, things start to happen.
Yeah.
So whatever lessons that you need to learn in this situation, write them down, make a note of it. If you're called to repent, do that. If you're called to say, okay, I'm sorry I thought that way about these people in my life. I'm sorry, whatever it is that you need to get straight with your creator so you can be mentally and physically and spiritually okay, please do that now, because you might not get another chance. This is his way of making us slow down. If nothing else, we have to slow down and look at ourselves, spend time with ourselves, spend time with our family, spend time with, him, and make him the priority so we can be better for him. So whatever that lesson is, make sure you get it. Make sure you get it, because it'll all be in vain. What is the commentator says, never waste a good tragedy, never waste a good crisis. So during this situation, make sure that this time is spent doing something good for yourself. I've walked more than I've ever walked. I've talked to the Lord more than I've ever talked to him. I've written more than I've ever, some business ideas have come from me through me, and I'm writing them down. In the next 6 months, you will see them. All of those, another book is coming. Another book is coming. All of those things now are being birthed through me, through this time that I've had to settle down and be by myself. And that's my 2 cents.
Right. Coach Kanisha?
So one last thing. I just think about the scripture that says, behold, I'm about to do a new thing. We hear that scripture and we get really excited about the new thing, because when we think new, we think shiny and pretty and, you know, new pair of shoes, mom. But if you're a Bible person and you read like the way God do a new thing, he has to tear down the old before he can make anything new.
Ooh.
And so know that during this time, like I believe America is being torn down from what it is, so that it can become a new thing. But here's the thing, like everything is personal with God. So we can take our time and look outwardly and pay attention to what other people are doing and what the white people are doing, what the black people are doing, what he did, what she did. Like we can waste our time doing that. And God is saying, I want to do a new thing in you too. And so pay attention to what he's tearing down, whether it's the way you're thinking, and you might be resistant to that. Well, this is the right way. This is the only way. Ask yourself, is it working? If you're in a marriage and you're constantly at war because you got to be right, God wants to do a new thing. And he's asking you, you holding on to what you think is right, but his right is way bigger than your right. And he's asking you, is it working? And if it's not working, be willing to tear down. I don't care if that's how your parents did marriage. I don't care if that's how your grandparents did marriage. If that mess isn't working for you and your marriage, tear it down. Parenting. How are you parenting? Now is your opportunity to do a new thing. If you're constantly at war with your children, one thing that God has taught me is that, again, guys, I'm a Bible girl. I'm sorry. I don't apologize for that. Like, I love the word of God. He says, I created you. I knitted you together in your mother's womb. I had to ask him, what did you knit Bryson with? What did you knit Brianna with? It's not for me to design who they are. It's for me to go like, oh, that boy is knitted with wisdom. That girl is knitted with like faith. And then I help cultivate that. And so if you're at war with your children because of their personalities and you're not going to talk to me that way, it may be because God wants to do a new thing in the relationship of your parenting, where you are now being invited to saying, who did God knit? And let me get in tune with that so that I can help develop that instead of trying to create this person that I made up. Who are you to make up a person? So I would just invite you all, as you're moving through this time, ask, what new thing is it that God is trying to do? What does he need to tear down inside of me? The way I think, the way I emote, the way I speak out of my mouth. Do he need to tear down this tongue of mine that's spill out poison? How do I talk to myself? Does he need to tear down these negative self-talks that thoughts that I have about me, what I'm not capable of, my self-doubt, my low self-esteem? Does he want to get rid of that so he can pull out of me the new thing? Because we got to have a mind that's ready to receive all of the wonderful gifts. You know, he says, renew your mind. And in the renewing, it means that I got to look at my old patterns. How did I used to do stuff? In order now to create new patterns to do things a new way. So I think that's the big message that we all can get out of this. What new thing is God trying to give us? And stop fighting, thinking that the new thing has to be pretty. Right now we're moving. If I turn this camera around, you guys will be shocked at the way this room looks, right? But in order for me to move into a nicer, a different place, I had to tear up this room to then fix it up, to get it right. And the same thing with everything that's in your world. Your new thing is going to cause you to stretch, pull, and do something that maybe don't look pretty at first, but you can get there if you're willing to do the work. So that's what I would leave with you.
Wow. Okay. Coach Cass, last words.
Yes, you spoke to me. So one of the biggest things I have gotten is more time with my child. And in the beginning, I was like, oh man, I figured out that I'm a weekend and a weeknight mom, but this all day mom, that's a different type of mama, you know? So after starting to embrace it, it's just been beautiful to see that my child loves to dance. She loves to paint. She loves to have a good time. She also likes to watch his tablet, but it's just been beautiful getting to know her as a human. So yeah, I would definitely say that has brought me joy. So I've cried myself to sleep many times in the last couple weeks, and bouts of crying to where my husband is like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not okay." And the big thing for me has been focusing on Princess Zara, being able to focus my energy in creating representation has brought me my sanity, So yes, in addition to devotion and to prayer and to journaling and to spending time with family, it has been focusing my energy to create change and creating a movement to just change the very fabric of how we do things in our society, from getting into things like lesson planning and curriculums and pitching to school districts, like I'm talking about the big stuff, stuff that normally I wouldn't have time to do, or I'd be so focused on my coaching clients, which, I still have a whole coaching practice supporting women in their love journey in our whole community. But that has afforded me to be able to give everything that I get from this back into it, so it's just been so beautiful. So for me, to everyone listening, is like, whatever it is that's within you that you want to create it. Whatever you've had on the shelf for years. Like I said, I had that sticky on the door 11 years ago that I wanted to write a best-selling book. Now I thought that book would be a relationship book. That's not what God had for me, right? So the fact that I'm bringing forward a children's book is like, what? Like this is not even my lane. But at the end of the day, this is what I was called to do. So, you just see things start to line up. So just to remind you that a dream delayed is not a dream denied, right?
All right, girl.
A dream delayed is not a dream denied. So for every single person that has had that dream on the shelf, it might just be the time to dust that sucker off. And for some of you, you might be like, look, I ain't got no dreams, Coach Cass. Well, support somebody else's. We've been talking about support Black business. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, buy Black every day. Listen to me. You are on Amazon. You are on all the things, Fashion Nova. You are on all the things buying stuff. Because for some of you, that's therapy. Well, therapize over here with our Black brothers and sisters, right? So you heard about the bandages. You heard about the book. You heard about the birthday sets. You heard about the cups. You heard about the coaching practice. Y'all need coaching. Don't do this by yourself. I have had a coach in my ear for the last 20 years, and I've been a coach for the last 20 years. So what does that say? We always need somebody professional in our ear, because sometimes our girlfriends, they mean the best, but it's like the blind leading the blind, So having that person in your corner to lift you up is so essential. Like, for instance, I'm working on a production deal. I called my coach like, yo, how's this supposed to go so they don't take advantage of me? But if I didn't have that person in my ear, like, what am I just doing? Googling? Listen, Google can only get you so far. The free information can only get you so far. So for those of you that have been able to save in this time, spend your money with a Black owned business. Like, vote with your dollars. Just like with Black Panther, let me tell y'all, Black Panther almost didn't come to fruition, right? So the story behind Black Panther is they wanted to make it a low budget movie. Okay, Black people don't really spend any money. But Bob Edgar said, no, we're going to treat this right like we do every other movie. And they were able to hit #1 in the country and rank top 10 in the world. Billions of dollars in just a couple weeks with Black Panther. We showed up. We bought outfits. We showed out. We did dances. We did drive-ins. We did dinners. I think I saw that movie about 10 times in 10 different outfits that all cost me all kind of money. Africa. Listen, I never felt so African in my life. Okay. I bought everything African, was wearing collars and bands and brands and Africa. Girl, you couldn't tell me nothing. 3 whole months, every single day, Africa. Right. So just the fact that, they just got a taste of what we can do. Let's show that in our own economy, right? In the Black owned businesses, like, support and promote. So if you don't have it, promote your sisters and brothers. Like, don't just be like, oh, that's cool. Right.
Right.
Share it. Like, why are you keeping it to yourself? So if you don't have anything to buy, if you don't have anything to sell, share somebody else's stuff. And even if you do have buying and sell, share somebody else's stuff, because it don't hurt you to share somebody else's stuff. At the end of the day, there's people on this line that heard me, and there's people on the line that heard Carnisa, and that's fine, right? Because you are called to who you're called to. So we are not in competition, we are in collaboration with, and we can support each other. Listen, I could get a glitter shirt from your store, from her store, from this store. You know, it's just like, I like glitter, I like sequins, right? That just is what it is. So I just want to give you guys the message of a dream delayed is not a dream denied, and share somebody's stuff and buy it. Okay. There it is.
Money.
I'm not following that.
That's a good wrap up, though. That's a good wrap up. To the panel is not over. You got ladies going to stay with us for a little bit for a Q&A. Iman's going to talk more about that. But I would just like to say all three of our coaches that are here with us today, they all have books. They are all authors. So you can support each and every one of them, because why not support Black business? That's what we should be doing. All right. Money on you, baby.
Oh, wow. I am blown away. SubhanAllah, I'm blown away. And I agree with everything that was stated today. And as our beautiful coach has said, it's never too late to start now. So just the other day, I was looking at my computer desk that I sit on my bed, and I teach my students from there with the video off. And I kept saying, I need to get a computer desk. I need to get a computer desk. I went online to IKEA. I went into the store and bought the desk, but I kept asking myself, is it too late, right? Oh, it's too late because it's only 3 weeks of school, because school is never ending here. That's a whole nother story. But I kept saying it's too late. I'm not going to be able to get my money's worth. But in the time that I went and purchased it and put it together and put it in my room, it's given me such a blessing. So for everyone who's sitting now thinking, oh, the quarantine is almost over, we don't have a clue. These folks are opening up the states, they're opening up the countries, but we don't know what God is opening up, right? Because as easy as he shut it down, he can shut it back down again, okay? So we just have to be mindful that it's never too late to begin. If you didn't take, maximum opportunity of this coronavirus situation, of the time being able to sit at home with your family and to, learn a craft or to share a craft or produce the book that you want to do or to work out, you still have time, because we're not working on our time, we're working in God's time, and his time flows a lot differently than what we're used to. So to say all of that, I want to introduce Queen Micki again. Not only can the sister spit the most powerful of poems, but the sister can sing. And she can't just sing, she can sing. So let's please introduce Sister Micki. Please give it up for our sister.
Thank you, beautiful. To the sisters, again, wow, that was a whole lot of soul food on a platter. That was an awesome discussion. Thank you, guys. I know we all got something from that. Yes, thank you, Iman, for a wonderful introduction. I'm also one half of Netter Frequency, which is a duo composed of me and my husband. I'm going to do a new cut that we created together. I'm sorry you won't be able to hear the music, but it's okay. As artists, we have to improvise sometimes. So I'm going to do this a cappella. And I'm going to dedicate this one to my mother, my sweetie pie, my queen. And today is actually her birthday. I talked to her earlier today. This song is entitled Reflections. And Reflections, when I wrote it, it's about thinking on the positive things that we're taught, that we sometimes disconnect from, but we tend to gravitate towards sometimes when we get older as adults, because they are the essence of who we really are. So here we go. Mama used to tell me, you always reap what you sow. She used to tell me, decisions change as you grow. She used to tell me, problems ain't the blind side of vision. It's how you solve them that makes the difference. She can say things without speaking a word. She say, girl, the world is a strange place. Keep a smile on your face. You need it to make it through the day. Shed a little sunshine on your way. Through the chaos and hatred, battles and war, what are we fighting for? Red or the blue pill, I know that I'm still remembering what Mama said. Mama said, she says, Daddy used to tell me, you can reach high as the stars. He used to tell me, but you gotta know who you are. Believe in yourself, think for yourself, read for yourself, always be yourself, and show love. He can say things without speaking a word. He say, girl, know your history, love your family, pray to God and make sure to keep a smile on your face. You'll need it to make it through the day and shed a little sunshine on your way. Through the black versus white, you're wrong and I'm right. Rumors of war, what are we fighting for? Red or the blue pill, I know that I'm still remembering what Daddy said. Daddy said, he said, dum da da dum 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 dum. Sweet, do 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 do. Sweet. Figures say things without speaking a word. They say, know your history, love your family, pray to God and make sure to keep a smile on your face. You need it to make it through the day, to shed a little sunshine on your way. Through the black versus white, you're wrong and I'm right. Rumors of war, what are we fighting for? Red or the blue pill, I know that I'm still remember what Mama said. And Daddy said, he said what they say. Do you know what they say? They say, show love. Thank you. I'm sorry you could hear the music.
Oh, wow. SubhanAllah. So Michelle, we go into the Queen's Award after that. I think that's an awesome way to introduce the actual awards for tonight.
Most definitely. That is, oh, Micki, you always touch my soul. Thank you so much for singing for us. That was beautiful and brilliant. So I just have to say that we're getting to the point in the program where we acknowledge the queens. This event is not just about networking and fellowshipping with women and feeling that empowerment, but it's also about acknowledging queens who have been the best versions of themselves, and queens who go up and beyond their regular jobs to do the real work to help their communities. So the women that we are about to honor are all deserving and have been nominated by other queens. That means we see you. We see you, queens. So to the Queen's Court, this presentation comes with just a very small token of appreciation, because I cannot give you the world as I would like to, but it's a small token of appreciation, and your crowns have been mailed to you. So you should be receiving them like tomorrow in the mail. And it's just a small token of appreciation to say thank you for the work that you have done. And when it gets hard, know that your sisters, they have your back. We see the work that you are doing. Continue to do it, and we love you. So without further ado, I present to you the Queen's Court.
Good evening, my queens. Today, I wanted to celebrate our sister, Dr. Felissa DeRose. She has been such a bright star, not only for me, but for all of those people who look to her as she provides them with the necessary resources to cope with diabetes. She does it with such grace and style, and she's hilarious. And she cares about our community. She uses what she has learned through her experiences to help others, and that makes her a sister that is most deserving of the Queen's Award. Sister, I love you. Thank you for being there for me. Thank you for being there for our community. Thank you for being you.
This certificate is awarded to Dr. Felissa DeRose to recognize the phenomenal and valuable contribution that you make to your community as an essential worker. Queen, we want you to know that we see you, we love you, and we honor you. Please continue to do what you are doing. Thank you.
Greetings, Queens. Allow me to introduce you to Georgia Wellington. Born and raised from Montego Bay, Jamaica. Georgia is a charge room nurse, recovery room nurse, clinical educator, and also a trauma recovery specialist at the Northwest Medical Center in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Georgia graduated from Florida State University. She has 3 amazing children, Kai, Amari, and Anaya. Georgia is not only a pillar in her community, but a queen in her own right, loving to share her knowledge about the medical industry with everyone she comes in contact with. Thank you for this amazing opportunity to nominate such a phenomenal woman, an activist, a queen, and also a woman of faith. Congratulations, Georgia.
This certificate is awarded to Georgia Wellington to recognize the phenomenal and valuable contribution that you make towards your community as an essential worker. Queen, we want you to know that we see you, we love you, and we honor you. Please continue to do the work that you are doing, and thank you.
Greetings, Queens. I am here to introduce someone that I definitely feel is a deserving nominee of this award. This is someone that I met my freshman year in college at Spelman. We lived on the same floor, and since that time, her spirit not only radiated such a fervor to be amazing for people, but also just like a kind, welcoming spirit. And so at the end of the day, as I've watched her matriculate up until this current season, she still embodies all of those things. So today I nominate Rakisha Clark. She is a phenomenal woman. She is a nurse. She has been a director. She has hired staff. She does all the things. She even won the 2019 American Heart Association Community Chief Public Officer Award. So without further ado, Rakisha Clark.
This certificate is awarded to Rakisha Clark to recognize the phenomenal and valuable contribution you make towards your community as an essential worker. Queen, we want you to know that we see you, we love you, and we honor you. Please continue to do what you are doing, and thank you.
Hello, Queens. As we take this time to virtually fellowship, reflect, learn, share, and grow, I have the honor of recognizing one of our queens, my soror, Debrina Madison. Long before the coronavirus pandemic, our healthcare professionals made the decision to dedicate their lives to save the lives of others. Especially under today's circumstances, we say thank you for your sacrifices, commitment, dedication, strength, selflessness, and courage. You are the true unsung heroes. Anyone who has had the pleasure of meeting Debrina would agree that this queen is the epitome of grace, integrity, perseverance, kindness, humility, and generosity. She has been a registered nurse for the past 15 years and currently serves as clinical data abstractor. Cleveland Clinic Abu Dhabi is lucky to have you as part of their healthcare family. Debrina's dedication to healing and wellness is more than just a career. She has made it her life mission to give back to her community, educate others, and empower us with tools to lead healthier, flourishing, and thriving lives. Words cannot accurately express how proud I am to call you my sister, my friend, and fellow queen. Thank you for all that you do. We love you.
This certificate is awarded to Debrina Madison Thornton to recognize the phenomenal and valuable contribution that you make to your community as an essential worker. Queen, we want you to know that we see you, we love you, we honor you, and please continue to do what you are doing. Thank you.
Dr. Kalila Brown is a board-certified pediatrician who serves as the Child Health Medical Director and Laboratory Director of Jefferson County Department of Health in Birmingham, Alabama. Under Dr. Brown's leadership, the clinical team has implemented innovative strategies to help prevent the spread of COVID-19 through telemedicine, a family planning drive-through, and streamlined clinic services. Dr. Brown is a medical liaison who develops safe strategies for reopening churches amid the pandemic. Dr. Brown is an alumnus of the University of Alabama School of Medicine and the chair of the Maternal Child Health Roundtable of Jefferson County. Her work in maternal child health has earned her the NAACHO Model Practice Award for 2020. Dr. Brown serves on the board of directors for Gateway Medical Solutions and the Community Food Bank of Central Alabama. She is an active member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Leadership Birmingham Class of 2019, and the Medical Association of Alabama. We salute you, Queen Dr. Kalila Brown.
This certificate is awarded to Dr. Kalila Brown to recognize the phenomenal and valuable contribution that you make to your community as an essential worker. Queen, we want you to know that we see you, we love you, and we honor you. Please continue to do the work that you are doing. And thank you.
Hey, good afternoon, Queens. This is Iman Khalid. I hope that you're all well. This is your MC for the evening, but right now I have the pleasure of introducing one of our essential workers, one of our essential queens, our sister, Lucretia Alexander. I had the pleasure of meeting Lucretia this past summer while she was working in the hospital doing insurance intake for one of the hospitals. She's awesome, she's amazing, and she's currently working on her nursing internship at St. John's Hospital on Mack and Moross in Detroit, Michigan. Lucretia has the pleasure of working with patients once they've recovered from COVID, alhamdulillah, all praise be to God, to help them get back to walking and talking. And she works with other rehab patients on her floor as well. Let's give it up and give a clap and a shout for our sister for doing the work that someone has to do, and God chose her. Congratulations, Lucretia. Love you much.
This certificate is awarded to Queen LaQuisha Anderson to recognize the phenomenal and valuable contribution that you make to your community as an essential worker. Queen, we want you to know that we see you, we love you, and we honor you. Continue to do what you are doing, and we love you.
Hi everyone, I'm here to talk to you about our fellow queen, Shauna Wilson McGriff. I've known Shauna since 2013 when we both moved to Abu Dhabi, and we were posted in the Western region. And any of you that know the Western region know that we really helped each other survive those 2 years. In 2015, we both moved to the city of Abu Dhabi, where we started working at private schools. And we kept touch, as you do through text and voice messages and things like that. And then about 2 years ago actually now, we ended up living on Reem Island together across from each other, and we reconnected and really started hanging out like we did in the Western region. And I have to say that I'm so glad that we did, because Shauna is such a light in my life. She's effervescent, she's brave, outspoken, a protector. She is a true friend, and I always find that she's a voice of reason, so she's my go-to, and she's a real motivator, as you know. So I'm super proud of her today, and as always, I'm proud of her, and I'll see you soon, Shauna. Bye-bye.
This certificate is awarded to Shauna McGriff to recognize the phenomenal and valuable contribution that you make to your community as an essential worker. Queen, we want you to know that we see you, we love you, and we honor you. Please continue to do the work that you are doing, and thank you.
All right, that was awesome. Congratulations to all of our recipients of the Queen Awards. It's an honor to be seen. Thank you, Michelle, for giving the sisters spotlight, because we know sometimes we can feel like, does anybody even notice the work that I'm doing? But you are being recognized, and we appreciate you for stepping up in this uncertain time and just rocking it out. Teachers, nurses, people working in the grocery stores, delivery people, God bless you all, because you are necessary, essential. We have a question from the chat. What advice can you give single moms? To the panelists, what advice can you give single moms without anyone to bounce everyday parenting do's and don'ts off of? Waiting until the child is grown to see if you got it right is not an option. So do any of you coaches have advice for this mom who is looking for just a couple of good words or two?
I'm a single mother. I raised my daughter by myself. I've never been married, actually. The only advice I could give you is what helped me was surrounding myself with a community of women who were just like me. So if you have any other single mothers in your community, try to link up with them, and you can have a mommy group. A lot of people do that. A lot of the mommy and me groups, things like that. I had I was really involved with my church when I first started going to school, and I needed a lot of help with her, watching her. So I needed babysitters. And so those ladies were always my go-to people that I can call and say, hey, I'm having my class late. Can you watch my daughter for me? I also made it a point. This is very important for me. I made it a point to surround my daughter with good men. Because I wasn't married, and because I wasn't married, I didn't want my daughter to feel like, you woman, you can do it by yourself. You don't need a man. I never wanted her to feel that for me. So I surrounded her with good men, positive men who were good influence, that they were educated and were smart. There were spiritual men that would pray over us, and they would bring food to the house. If we needed something fixed in the house, they would come over and do nice things, and they didn't want anything from me, and they didn't want anything from her. They were just men. But my advice for single parents is to surround yourself with people who are just like you. Find some more single parents or mothers, just mothers who are concerned about your well-being, who really are invested in you. So that way you can focus on investing what you need for your children. As a parent who has a daughter she's successful, but she's my child. So, I always say, you can do better. You can do better. But she's my child. So she just got her master's degree like last year. And I'm like, so when you gonna work on your doctorate? You gonna do that? But she works for NASA. So one thing I will say that when she was yay high, I saw that for her. I made her see that for herself. I put, again, visuals. I put all the HBCUs in her room when she was this high. So that way when she came in the room, when she went to bed at night, she could see colleges. And I don't care which one you go to, you go into one of them. Because I saw her as she is now. I saw her as educated and successful. She's married. She has a daughter of her own. And I didn't want that cycle to be necessarily, to stop with her or me. I wanted it to continue on in that legacy I wanted to have with her. So going back to my original advice, just find someone who's in the right mindset that is on the same path as you. Surround yourself and your children with people who are positive, who you would want your children to mimic when they got older. You don't want, the bunch of knuckleheads around your kids, because you don't want them to mimic that. You want them to see something like people going to school, people doing what's right in the community, so on and so forth. So that would be my advice as a single parent.
Beautiful. That's awesome advice. Any of the other coaches want to expound upon that?
I just want to encourage the mom who's a single mom, let go of the mommy's guilt and do your best to let go of the story that because you're a single mom, or that the life would be better or different if, you had this husband or dad, because it's a story and you have no evidence that that's true. So I learned that there's two kinds of guilt. That there's real guilt. Real guilt is that you've done something to, if you're a spiritual person, that you've done something to offend the God you believe in, we call it sin. So that's a guilt. Or even just going against your own morals. That's guilt. That's a real reason to have guilt. False guilt is that we have these regrets and what we thought and wish we could have done differently or better, and we made it up. Like we haven't done anything to really offend anyone. We haven't done anything to sin or, gone against our own moral code. It's just these thoughts and beliefs that we build that we then have all these regrets about until we have this false guilt. So I encourage you to just allow yourself to stand in the greatness and knowing that you're doing the best you can right now. And when you know better, you'll do better. That doesn't mean there's something wrong with where you are now. And know that they're your children are people. And everything that you're strong enough to do and handle, they'll be strong enough to do and handle, because they're learning it from you. And the biggest gift I want to give most moms is just let go of any of this guilt that we have about not being good enough moms, because we are. We're here, we show up, we're loving, and we give them the best. And last thing I'll share is I told my kids, I'm going to mess you up. So just know that. So I'm not trying to raise perfect kids, and I'm not trying to put on me that I have to be the perfect mom. I'm going to mess you up. And so the best I can offer you is this book that has all the answers my mom and dad don't. And for us, that's the Bible. And so I've taught them how to read that. And I taught them how to go to a source that's way wiser than me. So, get over there when you're mad with mommy and I messed up and daddy messed up. And so I just offer you the freedom to free yourself from the guilt.
Awesome advice. Thank you, Kanisha. Appreciate you. And Ms. Ken, so much to just sharing that. And I think so much that we spoke upon today was just personal accountability and showing up for ourselves before we even try to show up for other people. That's powerful, knowing our triggers and what we have to give and the things that we're lacking in. And Kanisha says it beautifully. And what she'll do whenever you speak to her, she'll return you to the source. Take it to God. At the end of the day, we're not God. He created us. We didn't create him. So we take it back to the creator and see what he wanted us to give and who he wants us to be, and to just be mindful of the different prompts that we give our children. Like Queen Ken said, that we can just, help to guide our babies, but at the end of the day, they're going to go on the road that God has designed for them. But we can just be there pushing them along, congratulating them and empowering them. So right now we have our Queen Michelle, our founder, the hostess, the idealist, who's going to come on and give us a poem before we close out, inshallah. Thank you all again for your patience.
Hello, Queens, yet again. Thank you, Iman. And I just wanted to say, I appreciate you all for being here today. And I don't sing like Micki. I don't sing like Micki, but I want to give you this poem that I wrote for the Queen's Tea many years ago, and it still rings true today. So it goes like this. She is my queen, she is my sun, yeah, she's my mother, oh, she's the one. I can talk to her because she understands everything I go through and everything I am. She's my support system, I can't live without her. The best thing since sliced bread is her kiss, her hug, her bliss, her love. And I just want the whole world to know about my soul sister. When I look in the mirror, I can easily see my sister. Her glitter sparkles like the bright morning star despite her scars. My sister's soul is more than the role she plays, is in her stroll. She makes life whole even when it feels like she's not in control. In our sisterhood, there is no should, could, would. We do good and stand for one another. She is my auntie, my cousin, my daughter, my sister, my friend, my mother, and granny too. We remember to stay true to each other through thick and thin, loss or win, because despite all other relationships, she remains a loyal and trustworthy friend. Now, we may not always agree, but honesty is the key, the glue that allows us to break through and achieve something new, something we never had before, where we all accomplish more and no one is keeping score. Whether we are crying in the closet or dancing on the dance floor, we can each be seen and be heard. And our dreams are never deferred because we hold each other to our word. We are profound and bound together like cinnamon and brown sugar. We are women of valor and virtue, mostly sweet, but sometimes sour. We have the power. It's in our wombs. It's more than our costumes and how we wear our hair. We are heir to a great and mighty throne, and we will not be blown or thrown away. We are sisters from different earthly misters, but our Heavenly Father is all the same. He calls us each by our name, no finger pointing or passing the blame. And he put us in this position to give us permission to have this coalition called sisterhood. You are my sister, and I am your keeper. I am your sister, and you are my keeper. And the only ways we can be reapers of what we sow is if we are willing to build and grow and let other sisters know that despite your scars, I see you for who you are. You are a star, and your reflection in my mirror could not be any clearer. My soul sister, I love you. I would never try to hurt you. I want you to know know that I'm here for you forever true. Soul sisters. Thank you, queens.
Day that I do something I've never done before. Today will be the day that I claim my space in this big old world. No more excuses from me. Oh, I don't know what tomorrow's gonna bring. No more procrastinating. No matter what, I'm gonna keep it moving 'cause I made up my mind. I've been broken too long. Not giving in like I did before. I made up my mind. It's time for change. I'm moving on. If I can only see one foot ahead. I can only see. I like it. Today is the day that I step out on faith, just like I know I should. Today is the day that I leave all those things behind me that are doing me no good. No more excuses from me. I'm not gonna let anything get in my way. No more procrastinating. Not putting off for tomorrow what I could do today. Yeah. I made up my mind. Not giving in like I did. No, not giving in. No. Made up my mind. It's time for change. I'm moving on. If I can only see one foot. If I can only.
Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate you so much. We just want to wrap up. I'm going to say my closing remarks and then Michelle will say hers. I just want to thank everyone for coming on. Michelle, I want to thank you for your vision and for seeing us. I mentioned it on the Facebook page about a week ago that the time that you chose me as a queen wasn't when I was necessarily feeling like a queen, but we get things in God's time and not necessarily in our time. It was my first year being a stay-at-home mom. I didn't plan the events that I was used to planning. I don't even think I had the same energy that I once had, but God allowed you to showcase me in a time that I truly didn't feel seen. And when you stood there and you held my hand and you said, I see you, you know, I appreciate that. And I thank you for opening the doors to all of the queens that have been recognized to being seen. So I appreciate you and God bless you for your vision and pulling together this beautiful panel of speakers and Micki for her presentation and just everything that you do to empower us. So continue empowering us. We need it. We love you. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Iman, for saying that. You know, y'all, I'm telling y'all, like when I say like my mom says my eyes are sad, this tea had to happen for me. And I hope it helped some of you all, and I hope it encouraged some of you all, but it had to happen for me as well because I needed this pull up. I needed this rejuvenation that I get when I'm around my sisters. So I want to say thank you to each and every one who had any type of impact in this process. But specifically, I have to thank Iman. Thank you for always being my soundboard, and I bounce ideas off of you. Thank you, Ken, Kanisha, and Cass for being on this panel. You guys didn't even hesitate. You just said yes, and I appreciate that. Thank you, Tasha, Jabila, and Kendra for the events that you did prior to the Queen's Tea. They were all phenomenal, and I know the sisters got something from it. Thank you, Kiana and Dion, for just saying, hey, sis, do you need something? Can I help you? Like, whatever you need, I got you. Y'all don't know what that means to me. Thank you, Sunny and Brittany, for being in the background and doing the things that y'all did without even anybody having to see y'all. When I told Sunny I was putting this thing online, she was like, "Cool, I'll do the tech." I was like, "That's just a burden off my shoulders." I didn't even ask. That's amazing, y'all, to have sisters like that. Thank you to Hadaya and Pepper and Bima and all of the women who nominated the queens that were recognized today, because you have to know that it takes something inside of you to see the royalty inside of another woman. So thank you so much. And I cannot forget to thank my sisters, my sorors of Mu Phi Sigma chapter of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated for all the promoting, all the positivity that you guys give to me. I am grateful. Thank you so much. And for all the people who saw the vision of the Queen's Tea and invited another woman out and say, "Hey sis, come get this. Come get this love, come get this encouragement." Thank you for joining us on this joyous occasion. And the plan, inshallah, God willing, next year, if we have a live Queen's Tea for the 7th annual, we will also have a hybrid and include our sisters online who can't get to the UAE to fellowship with us. I think this is something that we have to keep going around the world and beyond. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I am so honored, and goodbye.
Love you. Bye.